I don't normally do videos like this, but I think this needs to be said now. So, there's this one FNAF YouTuber who goes by the name Rye-Rye99, who used to make FNAF SFM animations back in the golden era of FNAF. And he used to have quite a lot of Gmod videos. One of those being Geeky Gmod, Zandy Gmod, and Zandy Gaming. Believe it or not, I've actually had experiences with Rye around 2017 through Skype, as we used to play Team Fortress 2, which was how I actually got to meet Emily Rosebug, who used to go by Synapse Crud at the time. But for those who don't know what happened, I'll cut to the chase. Rye has done some very bad things with FNAF Fan 126 and Mangle the Fox SFM when they were minors. What were those bad things? Well, Rye would do some very inappropriate role plays with them, as well as making them feel very uncomfortable. If you want the full context of what happened, I'll link Waluig's video and Brandon Patney Gamer's stream in the description below. But I'll do my best to explain some bits of the drama before I go on to talk about my experience with Rye. So, if all of you are familiar with another FNAF YouTuber named Eve Goes Boom, basically he and Rye would have some drama during the Google Plus days, and Rye would force his friends to talk smack about Eve. And I'll admit that I might have done that in the past when I used to watch Rye's videos, and I'll be truthfully honest, I'm not proud of doing all of that since I was blocked by Eve. So, I deeply apologize that I have done all that in the past. But I am now a changed person, and I have matured, as I am not the same childish and immature person that I was in between 2017 to 2022. Anyways, I'll get to my experience with Rye. Around 2017, I was in a very depressed and suicidal mood when my grandma and my parents were being genuinely selfish and mean towards me because I had bought Sonic Mania on my Xbox One through their money. But that's where I met Rye, and he told me that I shouldn't try to hurt myself, and admittedly, his reassuring words did make me feel a little better. And I think either the next day or a couple days after, we started talking to each other through Skype along with someone else, though I can't remember exactly who. And then through the start of October, me and him, along with Emily and a few others, actually got to play Team Fortress 2 for an entire day together, which was admittedly very fun, because when I first got my gaming PC in 2017 for my birthday, playing Team Fortress 2 was only fun for a little bit until it got to a point where I got bored. It's a common thing that we all have with a few video games. We all start to have fun, but as time goes by, it becomes tiring and boring, depending on the game you play. But I'm getting off topic here, so back to the story. Late October 2017 was where things took a very short-lived end to me and Rye's friendship, since I was in a very depressed mood again. And it didn't really help that one of my family members had passed away around that time, and since I lost control of my emotions, I ended up unfriending Rye on Steam, which ended my friendship with him. But that's not where the story ends, since one of Rye's friends weren't all that nice towards me. 2018 was probably the worst year for me, as my mental health got even worse. Not to mention that I was still very childish, since I didn't understand how online friendships worked. So, I ended up losing my cool quite a lot. One time before May of 2018, I was acting very childish that a lot of Rye's friends had to cut contact with me, and it didn't really help that I had a major heart attack at the end of April 2018, to the point where I literally had to go to the hospital and stay there for a week. Let me tell you, 2018 was an awful year for me. 2019 was where some things took a slightly lighter turn, as some of Rye's friends did refriended me, including Emily. Though I don't really remember what happened in 2019 that much. But then in 2020, me and Emily became very close friends and formed together as the Rosehog duo. But that's a story for another day. However, 2021 marked another end of my friendships with a handful of Rye's friends once again. This time, it was because of some FNAF fan games that I used to make that had the Zany Club's OC in it as placeholders, since I was making some new characters that were going to replace them. until one of Rye's friends ended up being toxic towards me for using those OCs, despite them having full approval on their inclusions from a previous game that I made that had their OCs in it. So yeah, the 2017 to 2022 years weren't the best years for me since I was very childish back then. But I have changed and matured a lot since then. So after my friendships with most of Rye's friends had ended, you wanna know what I did? Simple. I moved on. I just wanted to distance myself from Rye and some of his friends and become my own person with fresh new beginnings. But yeah, that's where my story with Rye and most of his friends ends. Now I should talk about the current situation with Rye and... oh my god. So, after hearing all the things that Rye did, I think I made the right choice to unfriend him in 2017, even if I was acting childish back then. So, to anyone who's had past experiences with Rye, I am deeply sorry that you all had to go through that, and I will do my best to support you in any way I can. You all deserve better. I didn't want to make this kind of video, but I think it was the right call for me to make this video because of what Rye did. It is utterly disgraceful and disgusting that one of the FNAF YouTubers that I actually grew up with in the golden days of FNAF would do something like this. Everyone, I want you all to do a favor for me. Please and go support everyone who fell victim to Rye's actions. Support Bailey, Rebecca, Waluk, Eve, etc. Just don't support Rye for what he's done. I just want to thank you all for listening to me and about my experience with Rye, even if it was short-lived. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about your thoughts on the situation. I honestly wasn't expecting Rye to act like this at all, since I had moved on from him. I've been holding onto a part of my past that I didn't want to talk about because I didn't want to give Rye's friends a very bad look since I don't do that kind of shit. But since Rye is off the internet and his channels have been deleted, I was finally able to talk about it. So, yeah. And with that, I'm gonna get going. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.